Hello and welcome to the Handicapable Black Woman Throne Room. My view of humanity is a whole new tea. Okay, hello, how are my royalty? How are you beauties? How are you amazing people? Oh, I do have to say, yeah, this weather, hoo-wee. It's like, especially if you're in Minnesota or Chicago, too. If you're in any of the other states getting the mixture of snow and rain, be careful, my beautifuls, okay? But okay, I'm gonna start, but make sure you have some petty tea. It could be nice and ice cold as our current president's heart and soul, or it can be steaming hot, hot enough to melt the ice and the ice away, if you know what I'm saying. Yes, you know what I'm saying. But okay, for one, I'm going to have another full conversation about our economy and how our president now will. I just found this out within the last 12 or 24 hours or whatever. He doesn't want the numbers out about our economy, about the layoffs and everything like that. I wonder why. I wonder why. But then also in Michigan, one of the GM plants closed down in the middle of the shift. It's like, what is going on in this country? But this episode is going to talk about kind of capitalism, homelessness, a little bit about disability and things. But all I have to say is our country, whew, our we have some people who are making tons and tons. Like, we've got millionaires, some who are almost trillionaires. And these people are literally making trophies, giving trophies to the president in order so that they can be able to gain more companies, gain more money and capital so that they can be richer. And so our country's going to brag about that and see, they're like, look at how much and but okay, but we're only as strong as our weakest. And look at how long of the lines our food pantries have been. It's like, look at the numbers of our homeless. It's like, look at the numbers of people being kidnapped by ICE. It's like, look at what's going on around in this country. Look around at our humanity. Humanity is looking really toxic right now. A lot of people who tell me that they love Republican capitalism or they love capitalism, a lot of them tell me Republican for some reason, even though the economy's been better with Democrat president, but yeah. And then also, like, some economies look better during the starts of Republicans or at least a time with Republicans, but then you have to look back to see how what the Democrat president did affected the Republican presidency and things like that. But people don't want to listen, people don't want to pay attention, and people don't want to pay attention to also the votes. Because remember, the Republicans are the ones that have been voting our rights away, voting our health insurance away, voting veterans like advantages or opportunities away. Even like the 9/11, voting their health treatments and stuff away, taking away cancer research away. So we've got to pay attention. We got to listen. We've got to pay attention. But okay, yeah, let me just start. When people tell me how much they love capitalism, ugh, sometimes it shows me or it tells me a lot more about them than they realize. Because whenever I say, well, there are some bad things about capitalism, oh, the way they look at me, the way they glare, or they're like, oh, then you're not American. I'm American enough to want the needy and the hungry and homeless to be fed. I'm, American enough to the point where I know we need more like safety nets for women, especially even teachings in school where I know the church will be so mad about, like, they're against feminism, But then when women marry and then they end up in harm's way because of the person they married, it's like a lot of people say, well, she chose wrong. Okay, well, not all men show the monster inside until after they say, I do. And a lot of men who is like, especially growing up within the church, there are a lot of church communities who tell the women, you're not going to work, you're going to stay home, you're not going to make the money, I'll make the money. And a lot of women, I mean, since that's how they grew up, they just, follow that. I'm so glad my parents were against that. Thank you. I'm like, yes, I had a terrible relationship with my mother and, well, with my parents. Yeah. Oh, it's gotten a lot better with my dad. Yeah. I mean, so if you've been listening to the episodes, but one thing that they have taught me, one thing that they have taught me that men hate about me is that I have investments, that I am money wise and I'm careful with it. And I have ideas to the point where I will always be independent and I will never have to date and marry a man because of my education, my creativity, and even with everything going on in my life, like I'm at least book smart to the point where I'm always wanting to learn so that I can expand and look at other options when in a situation. I'm a good problem solver. So I've learned that. And so when it comes to capitalism, let's just say that's been kind of a huge problem within our society. And it's one to the point where a lot of people voted for a specific person in order to be our leader and help us within the situation. But 92%, hey, if you're part of that 92%, you know who I'm talking about. Just holla back, but or even write me in the messages and stuff like that. But we knew 92%. We knew so many people right now. I didn't know I was voting for this. I didn't know this or that. He said he promised this. He said this. And I didn't think he was racist. He can't be racist. He gave to this foundation and he did this and he did. Oh, but redlining, well, he just wanted to make money. And yeah, some people use racism as an excuse to, pack up their wallet, expand their bank account. Sometimes they use, but it's like, no, a racist is a racist. If they're racist in any part of their life, they're racist. It's like some people don't realize that, like with DEI, a lot of people don't want to hire black people. The only reason they hired black people or people of color is because they had to. But some people are like, oh, well, they just weren't, they didn't meet the qualifications. Ha ha ha. They're so blinded, they're so ignorant, they're so dumb that they don't know our reality. But it's kind of funny now. What's going on in this country right now? All of the things that are going on in this country right now, black women, we've been knowing about this. And I want to say black men too, but do you know how many black men in the dating profiles they say not political, or they tell me that politics don't matter, and they tell me I'm stupid for wanting to change or thinking my vote matters and having an opinion, and or it's not feminine to have a political opinion or really any opinion or even any type of education. But we have to remember what that one rap artist said a couple weeks ago, that he doesn't think we need to be literate. He thinks we need to be financially literate, but not literate. Mm, yeah. I'm going to talk all about that in a future episode. I keep meaning to, but so many things are going on, especially in Michigan. Ooh, all of this awful thing. Okay. But, and the video is going to be in the episode, of course, but there was this one lady who is homeless. And I hope she's not homeless now because I hear people are donating money, and I'm going to be sharing the video. Watch her whole video, watch till the end. So if you can donate, do what you can, and only if you can, but if you can't, share it with other people. But It's like, if you're, and I really feel connected to this woman because, well, she's a woman and she has a disability. And a lot of people don't know how hard it is, especially for some of us with disabilities, to be able to find a job. I've told you guys so many of my interview situations, and I have countless more of how many job interviews where they call me up and they say how impressed they are with my resume, but then once they saw me walk in with my undiagnosed walking disability, since I walk different, they would tell me some of the most heartbreaking, terrible, bigoted things, but I can't sue them because, it's like, if I if I try to sue them, they're like, no, no, no. It's like, we didn't hire you not because you're not capable. It's like, you're very smart and you're one of our highest, like, ranked people that we wanted to hire. But what about our clients? We don't want our clients to have to be distracted by your walking, and or our building is so far that they wouldn't, like, we know you wouldn't want to walk to our building every day, and after a couple weeks you're probably going to quit anyway. That's why we can't hire you. Some of them said this to my face, some of them said it behind my back, and some of them, they were just plain out racist, because I've already told you guys in other situations where, yeah, they would tell me too much, like, again, some to my face, some behind my back. I would have never pictured you with this resume. How are you able to finish this education? Yeah, yeah. So when I say I connect with this woman, I do in so many ways. And it's really sad. And I don't know what her disability is, but it doesn't matter. I understand from, being a woman and having a disability. On top, I'm black, but you know what? Yeah, that's one difference. But I still have empathy for her. And I know having a disability and the price of trying to stay alive and or, like, being able to afford just to try to live every day, I understand. And so you would think the safest place to park your car would be a church. Me growing up in the church, me being brainwashed in the church, I would have still thought that, it's like, I don't know, it's like, when I was little or when I was younger, parts of me, I would I was kind of wondering, am I supposed to be a pastor? Not really, but like, or even like high volunteer, somewhere like high enough in the church where maybe I can start the nonprofits or start the food shelters in the church, where I can run them and I can maybe go around to grocery stores and make deals with them so that we can get the food that they're about to, dispose of or throw away, and like pass it out to the homeless people, where maybe we can even have a job fair where, it's like we can try to, like, match like people who are homeless with job opportunities so we can help them get off the street, help them get, their life together. That's what I thought when I was younger. But then I started learning more and more about the church and things, to the point where I'm just like, I started feeling like they didn't really care. They cared about their planes, and they would tell us to pray and donate, and yeah, and donate more and more of our money so they can get planes and stuff. My bishop, yeah, I think the congregation helped them get 2 planes. Yeah, yeah, yeah. But when I watched this, and this church is in Kalamazoo, so something else, like, well, I'm not in Kalamazoo, but her being in Michigan, part of me, it's so sad that I would have thought that a church would be like, you know what? I mean, technically, like, isn't it, I think, against the law? I wouldn't have cared. It's not a sin in the Bible. It's like, if I could have, like, if I could have, like maybe figured out a spot for her, like that, no one's gonna find her. But like, like I would have woken her up maybe with some McDonald's breakfast, or maybe not McDonald's because all of the chemicals, like, okay. It's like, sorry, like, um, hmm. Well, anyways, I would have tried, like, even if I made it from scratch, I don't like, but yeah, I would have woken her up, made sure she was fed, and let her in the church to stay warm. And I would have, like, let her know, like, okay, this might not be a good spot for you because we want to make sure, so why don't you park your car over here? But then at the same time, like, I don't want you sleeping in your car. So why don't you park the car, And it's like, you know what, we can call it security. Why don't you just stay in the church and, keep make sure everything's okay in the church, you know? Some people are like, how can you know if you can trust her? As a person of Christ, as a person in the church, that's what we're supposed to do. And so that's what I would do. So when I was watching that video, I was like, I did get a little emotional because my heart went out for her, because I'm just, being a woman with a disability, I understand. I know how hard it is. I know how heartbreaking it is when you need help the most. And especially when churches, and then you find out that the woman that was like, seemed so disgusted by her is one of the pastors. She's one of the leaders of the church. Like, 'cause at first I just thought she was some, like front row stuck up woman that, she goes to church every Sunday. She's one of the yeah, but she does go to the church every Sunday because she gets paid to be at the church every Sunday. Yeah, it's like you're giving parts of your parts and like tithes and offering to her. Yeah, yeah, she's there every Sunday. Oh, so that really annoyed me, and I wish I could have been in, like, switched roles, because it would have been a totally different video. And that other woman who, I love the petty on, like, because, yeah, they found out, like, the arrest of that husband. They found out the naughtiness of that. Yeah. Yeah, the Christian community, like, as a Christian, I do have to say, we've got some interesting people of the church. Especially, there are some interesting people of the church that are Republican. A lot of them, oh, they say they're Christian, and then they preach some things, but does that mean they follow it? And it's kind of like, do as I say, do not as I do. Yeah, so do as I say, not as I do, but at the same time, you don't want it to be blasted on the internet because you don't want people to see that you're not doing the exact things that you're teaching. Yeah, but then it kind of reminds me of that wonderful, amazing woman a few weeks ago who was testing the church about baby formula. But in return, these pastors had the nerve to judge her because she was a stripper and she's a lesbian and stuff. Like, I'm like, she is a human being and she tested you and she showed who you really are. She showed you with your mask off, because a lot of these pastors, when they're up in that pulpit, it's a mask so they can get that money. It's a mask so they can get their ego stroked. It's a mask so that they can just get every materialistic, capitalistic thing that they can get their hands on. That's it. That's it. It's like so many of those churches failed the test. And I will never forget that one grandfather who he was ready to get in his car and go and buy it. He was like, is there a specific flavor even? And he said, I have a grandchild. And it's like the empathy, like, and he might be Republican. He might be a Trump supporter. Because that's the thing. I'm not saying all Republicans, all Trump supporters are. Yeah, sometimes I'll say his name because it's like, Yeah. But some people have at least a big enough heart to at least sometimes realize when it's time to give back. And it's always time to give back, but for some, they pick and choose. For some, all lives matter only means all lives matter that I think matters. All lives matter that I think are really human. Because yeah, if you're LGBTQ, yeah, remember what some of these churches said about LGBTQ plus community. And oh, if they vote with Democrat, they don't want to see them again. Yeah, they better not come back to their church. Or if they're not like one of their citizens, or if they're not, one of the people that come every week or whatever, then yeah, I'm not giving you anything or whatever. It's because yeah, some of the churches are like, oh well, are you a member? No. Oh yeah, well you have to be a member. I don't remember that in the Bible. I don't remember that in the Bible. And some forget that maybe if you give, maybe if you show the Spirit of the Lord, maybe if you show the heart, the love, which there are about 50 different types of love within the Bible, maybe if you can show and express one of them to these people who are not members, maybe that will bring them closer. It's like people keep wanting to complain. It's harder to get these people in the church. Maybe it's because of how you're acting. Maybe it's because you show so much hate. Maybe it's because you show what a Christian is not supposed to be. But then it's like you want the title, but you don't want to represent. You want the title, but you don't want to have to do the actions. You want the title, but you don't want to have the heart. You want the title, that's it. You only want the title. And that's pathetic. And so, seeing this woman be in need and then watching a pastor literally turn her away, and then the receptionist or whoever she is threaten to call the cops. It's like she was just trying to sleep in her car. She was just trying to be in safety. It's like with all of the dangers in this world, it's the church's job to keep people safe. She wasn't doing anything wrong. Like, some people are going to say, well, it's illegal to park your car. Like, are we really going to be that pathetic? I have so many thoughts on this. And so you might see me bring this up again in other videos, but it really, it broke my heart to see that. Because again, like when I was younger, I used to think that I wanted to be part of the church, but now I know, like, no, 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 no. Now I know, with my creativity, with my business ideas, one day I want to be able to make enough money so that I can either like run a homeless center where we have maybe trades classes and like help with finding jobs and things to help them not be, help them to get on their feet, not be homeless anymore. And or even a mother shelter for those who, like, if especially those who they listen to their men. It was like, oh, don't work, stay at home. Because a lot of Generation Z women are like, some of them know better, but some of them are just like, oh, I want to be just like this YouTuber. She's making tons of money, but she's telling me to stay at home and not. It's a trap. Please, like, you may not believe me right now, but be careful with that. The percentage of women who love or have the fairy tale, the happily ever after, are very few in between, so be careful. But yeah, I want to be able to do like even food pantries, and there's so many things I want to do. But yes, my candles and my greeting cards are going to be open in 2026. I was hoping before that, but I have to think like reality. And with, oh, you do not know the craziness with my disability life that's happening right now. Oh, this morning, whew, I've got stories. But yeah, I'm handling it, and to make sure that I don't end up with a panic attack, I at least am organizing everything. I am reworking on my business plan because it's changed so much over the last few years, because I'm going to start applying for grants, and you're going to hear more about that on the Nerd channel once I start that back up again. But yeah, one day, one day, it's like I want to be able to help those that, especially with disabilities too. If I can help those with disabilities be able to either start their own jobs or start their own businesses or match them up with jobs and things like that, or even help them, like if they need help with the prescriptions and stuff, because I don't want them going into debt because of that. See, it's like we need a president that knows better and that will give health insurance for all and stop the capitalism of our health, of our lives. They say all lives matter, but they only mean if you can afford it. So, anyway, there are so many titles people want, but they don't want what goes along with it. They don't want the responsibility. They don't want the heartache. They don't want the pain that might come along with failure or whatever. They just want the title. Like if they don't succeed, they don't care. If they don't have the training for it, they don't care. Because yeah, we got a president in the office, right? He wasn't trained to do like no. He has, in my opinion, he has the hatred. He has the bigotry. He has the selfishness. It's like, oh, the capitalism. Oh, he knows all about capitalism, and he knows how to make his own pockets bigger. But he doesn't like. And he promised. Again, I'm going to keep repeating a lot of these things. But when he had that little like luncheon with all of the rich people in the country slash world, what did he say? What did he say? Don't worry, guys. I'm gonna make you, all of you guys, richer. I'm paraphrasing, but yeah, he said that to the richest people of the world. He said he guaranteed that he was going to make them all richer. He didn't say society. He didn't say of the people. He didn't say the people of America. He said he was talking to the richest people of the world, promising them. And at the same time, at McDonald's, he's like, when someone asked him about minimum wage, he was like, no, they're fine. They're good. They love what they do. They love how much they make and stuff like that. Paraphrasing again. But yeah, he was like, when someone asked, are you going to raise the minimum wage? He said, no. No. So yeah, he's wearing the mask of president, but yeah, it's on. He wants the awards, he wants the titles, but he doesn't want the responsibility that it really holds. And a lot of the Christians out here, they have that mask up and it's really heavy. Some of them are struggling. Some of them are struggling to the point where they're showing themselves. They are showing how awful and pathetic and mean and bigoted and just plain out trolls and bullies a lot of them really are. But they love having that mask of Christian because that allows them to be hateful, that allows them to be judgmental, that allows them to be mean and despicable and inhumane to other people. Thank you so much for listening to the Handicapable Black Woman Throne Room. I am a woman, I am of color, and I am handicapable. But most importantly, I am human and you're human too.